This is a good question. Yes. If you got money, from the money you need to give maaser. If you got things like a microwave, refrigerator, from this you don't give maaser. But from the money you do give maaser. Gifts for weddings, dear ladies. A soldier, does he need to give from his salary that he gets from the army? Maaser, yes. He needs to give maaser from the money that he gets. Oh, but he doesn't if he's considered poor. If he's alone in Israel, Chayal Boded, and he doesn't have money, anybody else to support him, and what he gets is for his food and for clothing, then he doesn't need only charity to give, because it's considered ani. Ve'ani patur mimaaser, doesn't need to give. Write the questions and the answers, and then see if you have another question. עכשיו, if you get a grant, צריך להפריש מעשר ממענק לידה, like maternity grant, or קצבת ילדים, or when you get money for your children, that they help you, a grant for the children. Okay, because it's in the will of the parents what to do with the money, בסייעתא דשמיא, they need to give maaser from it. Only if they're considered poor and they can't provide for the family, then they only give charity. Okay? Let's continue. A person who goes to work, can he take off of the net of his profits that, the transportation that he goes and the food that he eats in work? That's a good question, isn't it? So the transportation he can take off from the net, but not the food, because food he's anyway going to eat. But he wouldn't take the journey to his job unless he was working at that place. So the money for the transportation he can take out of the net, but not the food, because food anyway he needs to eat. Yes. Second thing, the siyata dishma. A person who has a saving account, okay, saving account or kupot gemel, which is a provident fund. You know what I mean? Yes. Okay, I don't really also know exactly.
Like a retirement account?
A retirement account?
A retirement account?
Or pension, it doesn't matter. All of this is funds, okay? Grants and funds, בסייעתא דשמיא. So, if he puts in his saving accounts amount of money, then before he puts it, he has to take maaser out of it. After the saving account gets more and more money, or he puts it in stocks, and it gains more money. For example, stocks, what do? So before you put the money, you take maaser. If you took it from the net and anyway you took maaser, so you can use it without, because anyway you took from the general and now you put it in stocks. If you
cash it.
If you profit, exactly. If you profit, because I am translating at the same time. If you profit from the stocks, then you have to give maaser from the profit. If you lost in the stocks, you don't give maaser. You wait until you gain the money that you lost, and then from that place, when you have profits, from that you give maaser. Okay? בסייעתא דשמיא.
But it's end of the year.
Sometimes, סליחה?
Every month, end of the year.
The best thing, in that it changes, so you have to calculate. So either you do it changes. So either you do it at the end of the year, you choose by yourself to do it. Before Rosh Hashanah, you do the calculations that you do. Don't come owing Hashem something on Rosh Hashanah, a big judgment day. Furthermore, some of the grants, benefits that some companies give to the employees, so they take pension money and they take out, there are some benefits that they do without even the employee having, it's not in his control.
Deduction.
Okay, they deduct it from his salary immediately. Or they take it to funds, anything that they do. So it doesn't really go in the checking account, or it doesn't come as a check to the employee. So what he needs to do is that after the money comes in his hand, then he takes a tenth of it and gives it to charity, Bezat Hashem. you don't give a tenth for a mitzvah, usually for a mitzvah that you need to do. You can't take from the maaser, from the tenth, for a trogim, for example, for a mitzvah to buy a tefillin. That's a mitzvah that we need, a commandment that we need
You
to
can
do.
do that?
Slicha?
Tuition?
We'll come to tuition. You can't give it from this, from the maaser. So b'siyata dishmaya, a mitzvah, a commandment that you have, b'siyata dishmaya, it's not part of the maaser. The maaser is a commandment from Hashem. Asor te'aser. So you give this, the maaser, separately. Only if you don't have money and you have to use this, otherwise you don't have for your livelihood, then you can give from this. You can do the mitzvah from this. If you don't have, it's only if you don't have, so you're considered like ani, then you can, and you have the 10 from this you can take. Okay. Okay. If a person gives, for example, a person has money, he's rich and he has money, and I know people that every month give like $1,000 to a yeshiva, for an example, or $2,000 for yeshiva. Can they consider this as part of their maaser? B'siyata dishmaya, not for the yeshiva, for their children. In general, yes, they can. So they can give us a big amount. If they want to give a big amount of $10,000 for 10 months, but to give it as one, not to separate, to divide it for each month, they can do that, and it can be part of the maaser. They can be calculated at the part of the maaser at the end of the year.
Oh, you mean prepay?
No,
כן.
it's
זה כשרוצים לתת לישיבה את התרומה, כמו שאמרנו, here, to give a תרומה, to give a donation, it can be בסייעתא דשמיא, part of the maaser. Another thing, can you give money to build a synagogue, part of the maaser? So it says בסייעתא דשמיא that all of the mitzvot, like I told you before, all the mitzvot, we are commanded to build a synagogue, Shemikdash Me'at, that you can daven together. All of the mitzvot, the commandments, are not part of the maaser. But if you don't have, and they build a synagogue in your area, and this is the only thing, you can't give more than the maaser, because you don't have to provide for your family, then it can be considered part of the maaser. But if you have more, זה צריך לבוא מהכסף נוסף, money of charity.
And a mikveh?
It's the same thing a mikveh, anything that is for kids, זה חובה שיהיה מקווה. The same thing about a mikveh. Are you allowed to buy holy books, ספרי קודש, מכספי מעשר? And to write for them that this is from מעשר and everybody can use them. So our sages today and the rabbis say, בסייעתא דשמיא, in the past you could have done this because it costs a lot of money to buy a book. They didn't have money to buy books, and they used to write the books. Today it's printed, and it doesn't cost so much to buy a book. So בסייעתא דשמיא, it should be not from the maaser, but if you don't have brera, if you don't have a choice and you have to, and you want to donate, you can still do it. But you ask a rabbi before you do it. Everything that I tell you, if you have a question, you go to a rabbi and ask, moreh halacha, okay? All of the things, all of these laws that comes from Shulchan Aruch, Yoreh De'ah, and from the Rambam, Zraim, dear ladies, you go and ask a moreh halacha, a rabbi b'siyata dishma, if you have a question that you don't know the answer about. This I told you. What happens on Purim? We give matanot le'evyonim. We give charity to poor people. Purim, kaparot. Before Yom Kippur, that we do kaparot, we take money and do kaparot. Again, this is a thing that we are commanded to do. It's part of them is the minhagim, and part of them is things that we do. It's not supposed to go out of the maaser. But if you don't have for your livelihood, and this is only what you have, you can use it from the maaser. But it's better not, if you can, not out of the maaser. מחצית השקל, and all of these things are considered together. Okay, what happens when a person owes money? You have a loan, you took a loan from somebody and you need to give maaser. What do? If you give the maaser, you can't give him the loan. Dear ladies, first pay the loan. And then write how much net you gained this year, make a calculation, and then you have the money, you pay the maaser. You understand? First, you give back the money that you took a loan from a person. That's the first thing.
Mortgage loan?
Mortgage is something else because it's every month and I'm talking from other people.
Loan.
First, loan. First, b'siyata dishmaya, you took a loan from your friend, your family, somebody, a member of this is the first thing that you give back. And if you can't, you have to pay the maaser and the loan, you pay the loan, you calculate how much maaser you need to give, and when you have the money, you give the maaser. Hashem knows. But first you have to give the money that you owe to that person.
If the person is okay with it,
That's
so
okay.
it's okay, you can give me later.
That's okay. If he agrees, that's from Hashem Beseder. It's not him agreeing, it's Hashem tells you that's okay, give the maaser and then give him.
That is true.
But first is the loan. What happens when we say in Hebrew, minus babank, overdraft?
Overdraft.
Yes, overdraft in
When
the
you
bank.
don't have money.
Okay. First you have to pay the overdraft, but only if the overdraft is not because you wanted to go on a yacht, or to go a trip somewhere, or to buy expensive clothes. Only if it was mamash for livelihood, for your livelihood, then you pay the overdraft. But if it was, to buy nice cosmetics or nice shoes or,
Luxury.
mutaot,
Luxuries.
yes, then no. Then even the rabbis say you have to educate yourself, because it means that the luxury is that you want a first place before Maaseh or before the tent. No, you have to pay the tent and then start to educating yourself for what is really important in this world. Let's continue the Siyata Dishmaya. About poor people, I told you, a poor person that doesn't earn enough to provide for his family, he doesn't give a tenth. He's not obligated to give a tenth. He will give Tzdaka, but not a tenth. If a person can donate his work for the tenth, which means, let's say there's a person who knows electricity and he's an electrician, and he can come to yeshiva and he wants to donate money, but he doesn't have the maaser yet. So if he can donate his work, he can fix everything, all the electricity, the AC and everything, and give them a low price for it. And if this is considered part of his maaser, yes, he can consider it part of his maaser. To do a job instead of giving the money, because instead of them giving him a check, he gives them as a donation, as a maaser, part of his work. Let's see. Now let's go to parents and children. Anything that the parents provide for children until the age of 6, by the Torah they have to provide for them until the age of 6. This is not considered part of the maaser, part of the tenth. Until the age of 13, it's Chazal, our sages, they have to provide for them. And it's not part of the maaser. They can't consider it part of the maaser unless they are poor and they can't provide for their family, and then they don't have to give a maaser, only charity, remember. And then until the age of 18, it's the same thing. Dear ladies, it's not part of the maaser, it's part of their obligation to provide for their children, period. Because there are people who think that if it's written until the age of 6, that you can provide for your children, they think that are not obligated. And I heard a father, a few fathers that said, I don't have to provide for my children. The age of 6, they don't have, so the mother has to provide for their children. So dear ladies, that's not true, because we need to emulate the attributes of Hashem. And Hashem, when his children, the children of Israel, went out of Egypt and they went in the desert for 40 years, even though they sinned to Hashem, he provided for them clothing, food, and anything they needed. So even if our children do not behave well, we still provide for them. Yitzchak Avinu provided for Esau. So it's an obligation to provide for them, but it's not part of the maaser unless the family is very poor and they don't have to give a tenth, they don't have enough to give a tenth and to provide for the children. They can take from that and just give charity, Bezat Hashem. Let's continue. What about Talmud Torah? studying in a yeshiva, אז I want to read it to you. האם אפשר לשלם את תלמוד תורה של הבנים מכספי מעשר? If you can, from the מעשר, the tenth, give the תלמוד תורה. הואיל וזו מצווה מהתורה, שהאב חייב ללמד את בנו תורה, או לזכור לו מלמד שלמדנו תורה, ולמנוע שילדיו לא יתקלקלו, אין לקיים את החובה הזו על ידי כספי מעשר כספים. Because it's the obligation of the father to teach his father, כתוב ושננתם לבניך, to teach his son Torah, we said that in Shema Israel, to teach his son Torah, it's not part of the מעשר, unless he cannot do that only by using the מעשר. unless, אין לקיים החובה זו על ידי כספי מעשר. אולם, אם הבנים גדולים וההורים משלמים עבור מוריהם וגם עבור מזונם ולבושם ומצבם דחוק, if the boys are big and the parents are paying for the teachers and for the clothing and for the food and they don't have enough money, you're allowed to take this part of the tent. And also if they live in a pnimiya, in a boarding house, then they can, because this is not part of Shinantem Levanecha. Okay, it's the addition to it. Okay, what about married children? האם ההורים יכולים לעזור לידיהם שעברו גיל 18, that they are over the age of 18, if they are not married or married from that 10? Okay, if the children are considered poor, which means they don't have any profession, they can't provide for themselves, and what they provide is not enough for them to live, to eat and feed themselves, then you're also allowed from the Maaser even to give them to study a profession, even Maaser. Why? Because they're considered ani, it's the first thing. So they will have a profession that they can, then after that won't need anybody and can, yes, will have a profession, בפירוש. Dear ladies, תארו לכם עד כמה התורה שלנו open-minded. And dear ladies, if they are married and they can't provide and they live with you, so you can give it part of the maaser. They can't provide for themselves. They don't have money to rent an apartment and they live with their children in your home, so it's part of your maaser. But if you have money and that what you give them is only luxury, you provide more than they need, this is not part of the maaser. It's not part of the 10. Okay? And the rabbis say that if they have a car, if they can afford a car, so you don't have to give them, it couldn't be part of the 10th business.
Sometimes the
It
car
can't
is
be part of the
part of the
10th.
parnasa.
Car is very cheap.
But
House
the
is
a
very
car can be the
expensive.
parnasa, can be that, you know, maybe he's a taxi
And
driver.
again, if you have a question, you go to a rabbi and ask. Nachon. Today, a car can be a very cheap car, b'siyata dishma, but it means if they have luxury, so then you don't take it from your maaser. You're not allowed to take it from your maaser. Okay? Car in the way of luxury, not, a simple car just to go to work and to come back, b'siyata dishma. I'll just look b'siyata dishma. I know it's late. Let me just see. Oh, charity for parents. Okay, what happens if a person, first of all, you remember parents? It's in the head. You remember? The head. First, before the children, parents. So you are obligated to help your parents. If they cannot provide for themselves, you are obligated and you have the money to help them, you have to help them. It shouldn't be part of your tent because it's written, dear ladies, שלא נדע, כתוב ככה, ואמרו חכמים, שאם ייתן כספי הצדקה שלו להורים, if you'll give charity to his parents, תבוא לו לא עלינו מהרה. A curse will come upon him. שאין ראוי לתת להם צדקה, אלא ראוי לחלוק עמם כספו האישי. That it's not right to give them charity because they provided for him from the moment before he was born even. So it's not right to give him charity. He should give him, like he provides for himself, he should provide for his parents. But if he doesn't have, he cannot provide, barely provides for himself, then it can be part of his tent. Only then it can be part, but otherwise he can't take it out of his tent, okay? Dear ladies. עכשיו, his parents, and remind you, comes first. Dear ladies, all of these mitzvot, בסייעתא דשמיא, I want to give you two more things. I wanted also from the Rambam to give you something, but I will give you from here two more things. B'ezrat Hashem, all of this mitzvot, all mitzvat maaser. תזכרו, it's your luck. You open your luck by doing this. Don't be afraid. Hashem provides for everybody. Don't be afraid to open your hand. The more you open, the more you get. The more a husband opens his hands to his wife, the more prosperity he gets. And the wife shouldn't be with her head only in luxury and things like that, Chas v'shalom, but only for things of mitzvah, for the home and the children, Be'ezrat Hashem. So, dear ladies, and if you have any question, you have to go to Moreh Halakha, to a rabbi. Another thing, לעולם ירחיק אדם עצמו מהצדקה, always a person should prevent himself from tzedakah, ויגלגל עצמו בצער, שלא יצטרך לבריות, that he wouldn't come to a need for people. וכן ציוו חכמים, עשה שבתך חול, it's better that you'll eat on Shabbat regular things, then to go and knock on the doors and to take tzedakah. Oh, I didn't tell you, I missed it over here. A person who knocks on the door, you're not allowed to give him a lot of money, unless they come from a yeshiva to take for a kollel or something. Not to make it a custom for him, that he'll say, well, this is easy parnasa. I will knock on all the doors and then he buys the houses and Mesiyata Dishmaya, because nobody, you understand what I'm saying? You have to give him something, but not a big thing. And accept if it comes for a kollel or a yeshiva בסייעתא דשמיא. Yes. או הכנסת כלה, או הכנסת כלה בסייעתא דשמיא, או sick people, these are the exceptions בעזרת השם.
Even though they're all making mishnah.
עכשיו, dear ladies, כל מי שאינו צריך, תקשיבו טוב, כל מי שאינו צריך ליטול מהצדקה, he who doesn't need צדקה, הוא מרמה העם, and he cheats people, ונוטל, and he takes צדקה, אינו מת עד שיצטרך לבריות. תראו מה זה, מה אומרת ההלכה. He won't die, he won't pass away, before Hashem will take all of his money, and he will truly need charity. Don't, chas v'shalom, we are not allowed to cheat. What we have in our heart, we'll have in our mouths. We are not allowed to take charity when we don't need charity. So it says over here that Hashem won't let him pass away before he will take chas v'shalom all of his money and make him really poor, that he needs really the people. And furthermore, b'chol mi shetzarich litol, and the person who needs to take charity, ואינו יכול לחיות אלא אם כן ייטול, and he can't, for his livelihood, he doesn't have food. You remember the first thing, the poor people who needs food, and he will die because of this. והוא לא נוטל, כגון זקן או חולה, a sick person, a weak person, an old person, או בעל יסורים, or person that has a lot of suffering, הוא מגיס דעתו ואינו נוטל, and he doesn't take the charity that he's supposed to take, הרי זה שופך דמים ומתחייב בנפשו, which means it's like he's making a suicide, and Hashem will judge him for this. Why? Because the mitzvah is that we will remember that we are brothers and sisters. Our job in this world is not to put all my money inside איך זה נקרא? כספת. Safe. A safe. Our job is to help each other. We are responsible for each other. So if a person needs, and he doesn't, he's very sick, he has a lot of suffering, and he's very old, all of these categories, and he doesn't take, and something happens to him, he will be judged by Hashem. Because by taking, he makes a person do a mitzvah. And it does the will of Hashem. But sometimes people are shy. So usually when you give to the gabaim of the shul, they know who needs. A smart gabaim, and they know how to speak to these people, or to put in the envelope without them even knowing, put a sum of money that they need in the
mailbox,
in the mailbox, without, or underneath the door, inside their homes, without even their knowing. So dear ladies, b'siyata dishmaya, you are not allowed to cheat people, and you have enough money to live and to take tzedakah, but you are also not allowed not to take when you have to take for your livelihood, that it would cause you a life and death situation. I would like to bless all of us, that Hashem will write us in the book of good parnasa, in the book of life, good parnasa, marriages, righteous children, Bezrat Hashem, good husbands, good wives, Bezrat Hashem, Bezrat Hashem, long life, a life that is fulfilling the commandments and good deeds, Bezrat Hashem, and a big, happy heart to us and Klal Yisrael. Tiva v'chatima tova. And we all have the zchut to greet Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mehera v'yameinu amen. And when we all have the zchut to see and hear Eliyahu Navi zachur latov, l'olam yimer adadam michavoro b'dvar halakha yachid ברבים הלכה כרב. I love you.
We love you too.